All right. Healthy Living Series Part 2. Part 2. Nutrition and Aging and Disease. Let's get started. Question. Can food alone cover all needed nutrients? In theory, yes, but in practice, it's very difficult. Why is it so difficult? You know, just because it's almost impossible to get the nutrients we need in what's available to eat. Sad but true. 60% of the US diet equals ultra processed foods. So the problem with ultra processed foods is that uh, they're contributing calories but lacking micronutrients, right? So you're getting calories, but that's all, no other value. Nutrient density in product has declined. So modern farming methods and soil depletion have reduced the nutrient levels in the stuff that's available to actually purchase at the store. That's a challenge that all of us have. And lifestyle and health factors reduce absorption. So things like stress, medications, chronic illness, they also increase nutrient needs and they reduce absorption in the process. And that's really what makes it such a challenge. So while food should always come first, supplements are needed to bridge the gap. They just the way it is today. I have a question. Be honest. How many of you think it's possible to get all your nutrients just from your daily meals? So I just want you to consider this. There'll be some questions as we go through, because a lot of times we don't think about things like, well, am I actually getting everything my body needs to actually age slower, to actually age healthy without declining health as we go forward? So, just a question to ponder and consider. All right, what is malnutrition? Now, I'm just going to tell you up front, from what I can see and understand and have learned, malnutrition is global. And sadly, the United States has malnutrition, maybe beyond some places that you would be shocked that maybe third world countries where they're still, they're not using pesticides and all the other stuff, and they haven't damaged the soil so much. But let's take a look at what is malnutrition. Undernutrition, too little food / protein. Overnutrition, too many calories, but nutrient poor, right? So the stuff that you're eating doesn't have any value in it. That's ultra processed foods. Hidden hunger, missing essential vitamins and minerals because you just can't get them in what we have what the supermarket, if you will, has to offer these days. And the lacking essential vitamins and minerals, even if calorie intake is high. And that's really part of the problem with malnutrition. So when you hear the word malnutrition, what comes to mind? Too little food, poor food quality, or both? And kind of as I mentioned, too little food. Well, there's poverty around the world. There's poverty in the United States. There's people that perhaps get too little food. Then there's the problem of poor food quality. So many of us get plenty of food, but the food quality is where the challenge is. And of course, if you have both, then you've really got a bigger challenge. Do you think malnutrition can exist in people who are overweight? Right? People who are overweight. Do we have overweight people in this country? Yes. As a country, in particular the US, but this is a problem around the world, but more so in the US, overweight is out of control. And in the midst of it, a lot of the overweight is caused by too many calories and not enough nutrition. Right? It's what you're eating. So we're back to this critical place. How malnutrition affects aging. So that's really what this is about. Like let's get down to the bottom line of how this might affect our aging. Well, first of all, slower cellular repair and healing. How important as we get chronologically older is cellular repair and healing. I think most of us understand this is a critical point, right? It's taking longer to heal. That's not a good thing. Nutrient shortages slow down cellular repair and healing processes. That's just the bottom line. More oxidative stress and DNA damage. So they increase oxidative, when you increase oxidative stress and DNA damage, it weakens the immune system and shortens telomeres and impairs cognition, cognitive thought, right? So this oxidative stress is a real challenge, and that's why we need antioxidants. Weaker immunity, again, affected by stress and DNA damage. Shortened telomeres, another result, and cognitive decline. And I think we've all seen cognitive decline. You've got, in your parents or maybe grandparents. And sometimes we see cognitive decline in people at a very young age, 40s, 50s, 60s. How often is that directly related to malnutrition? Not getting the body the information it needs to actually be healthy and fight off disease, right? Keep the immune system functioning. So which do you think comes first? Malnutrition leading to faster aging, or aging making malnutrition more likely? Food or thought? Which do you think comes first? Malnutrition leading to faster aging, and obviously malnutrition is a cause of faster aging, or aging making malnutrition more likely. And as you know, we talked, for those of you who were here in week 1, we talked about beliefs, and can they have an effect? Aging making malnutrition more likely. How about, have you noticed differences in energy and recovery when your diet slips for a week or two? So in other words, even if you're on a good diet, and as we become more conscious and more aware of the need to have a healthy diet, and these days you need to be aware of that whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, and especially beyond. But because of the fact that even in your 20s and 30s now, you can't get the information your body needs. You can't get the nutrients, the micronutrients and the vitamins in the food that we have available. It's just not there. So this is so important, especially if you're younger. The sooner you start, the better off you're going to be long term. Malnutrition and disease. So what's the connection? Let's take a little look at the connection between malnutrition and disease. Heart disease and diabetes risk increases with malnutrition. Bone weakness and osteoporosis. Big problem. Okay, so malnutrition also affects cancer and inflammation. Cancer vulnerability, right? Because of malnutrition. And, you know, these are chronic inflammation. These are the major diseases of aging that nutrition can directly influence. And how many of you know somebody with heart disease, diabetes, bone weakness? What's one of the major problems as we age? Older people fall in the shower, break a bone. Major problem, right? Cancer vulnerability. Your body isn't healthy enough to deal with the parasites that we come in contact with on a daily basis, and malnutrition and the effect on chronic inflammation, right? Big challenge with chronic inflammation. So, what's one chronic disease you've heard is strongly linked to poor nutrition? I think most of you, well, most of you have an idea. There's one in particular that I think is well known. But I just want you to think about it for a second. Do you know one? Just one. What's one chronic disease you've heard is strongly linked to poor nutrition? Well, I'll just tell you what came to mind for me. Calcium, right? Calcium, the bones need calcium. Actually, the entire body needs calcium. But we suffer as we get older if we don't have enough calcium. Do you believe nutritional deficiencies are as serious as risk factors like smoking or inactivity? You know, I think we've all been made aware of the risk factor associated with smoking, besides, you know, what it does with your lungs and makes the body so weak, and, you know, many times. And then we have the ability for the parasites to actually take over, and we end up in a cancerous state. But what about inactivity? Can inactivity be as much of a challenge or a risk factor in nutrient deficiencies? We know from lifestyle that inactivity can be a major challenge as we get older. You've got to be active, but if you're going to be active, you have to have the nutrition. And if you have nutritional deficiencies, inactivity is where you end up. because you're too weak to actually do it. Practical tools for healthy aging. So eat the rainbow daily. So what does that mean? Okay. So basically what that means is, fruits and vegetables daily. You've got to have the fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. Prioritize protein and healthy fats. Okay, so, what are healthy fats? Add micronutrients, boosters like seeds and nuts and greens. And one of the most important things, got micronutrients, greens, seeds, and nuts. Here's the rainbow, or a part of the rainbow. Hydrate consistently. Hydration is a major issue also. And if you're dehydrated, which most people in general unfortunately are, you're going to have problems. And you're not going to know what it is. Many times it's something as simple as a headache, and you're like, why do I have this headache? Well, welcome to dehydration. So you've got to hydrate consistently. If you had to rate your daily diet on a scale from 1 to 10 for nutrient quality, where would you put yourself? I hate to make you guys think too much, but then again, how important it is to think about these things and really just begin to develop the habits that are going to make the difference. If you had to rate your daily diet on a scale from 1 to 10 for nutrient quality, where would you put yourself? All right, here we go. What's one food or nutrient you should be getting more of? So I think we all have one of these that it's like we know for sure we'd be better off if we had more of this. Have we developed the habit of having more of that? So I can tell you, for me, I know how important my gut is. So things like sauerkraut and kimchi are very crucial. And, that's something that, and probiotics in kombucha, for instance, critical for the gut. So what's your one food or nutrient you should be getting more of? Could be more greens, more spinach. How many of you have a salad with that lettuce, iceberg lettuce, that's really just water? Do you have things like spinach in your salad? Do you have kale in your salad? What's missing? Nutrition is the foundation for aging well. This is just how it is, right? You got to know this. Nutrition is foundational for aging well. That's really the base, if you will, platform of wellness, critical. So beliefs. So nutrition is foundational for aging well, and holistic beliefs and food choices equal vitality. So keep that in mind. After today, how many of you feel supplements might play a role in filling the nutrient gap? So we know there's a nutrient gap. It's almost or virtually impossible to get everything we need. Many people strive to have a really healthy diet. Plenty of salad, plenty of fruits, plenty of nuts, plenty of proteins, and whether you're getting your protein from avocados or you're getting your protein from meats, um, you know, having the what might be considered the perfect balanced diet is still going to leave you shortchanged somewhere, especially if you're active. And if you're not active, that's even worse. So things to consider. All right, let's see. How about top 8 influential books on nutritional supplements? So I always want to give you something you can do your own research. You can go find out for yourself some of these things I'm talking about. And I have really kind of made this a priority to take action on and start finding out more and more about what do I need and keeping track. So, prescription for nutritional healing, Phyllis Balch. There's one. Earl Mindell's Supplement Bible. Okay, so the prescription for nutritional healing, it's the therapeutic use of supplements as a drug-free remedies. Earl Mindell, let's talk about him. The Supplement Bible, it's an overview of benefits and cautions across common supplements. Vitamins for Dummies, Hobbs and Haas. So Vitamins for Dummies. This is basic on vitamins, minerals, and dosages and safety. Okay, how about the China study? T. Collin and Thomas Campbell. So the China study, the whole food diet is best, but still requires supplementation. We're not going to get away from it as much as we might like to. Then there's vitamins, the vitamin cure. So the vitamin cure is practical condition-based supplement guidance. Okay, let's see what else we got. The Magnesium Miracle by Dr. Carol Dean. So the Magnesium Miracle highlights magnesium's role in 60 plus health conditions. Obviously, if it affects 60 plus health conditions, it's really needed. Right? Deficiency is widespread. And that is so true. Many of us have taken or are taking magnesium. And I got some good news for you after this about magnesium. And then let's see what else we got here. Life extension, a practical scientific approach by Dirk Pearson, I believe, and Cindy Shaw, I think is the name. So, what's this one about? Life extension, pioneering book showing supplements and antioxidants as the key to longevity. And I tend to agree with that. I think that those things are crucial and critical and can make the biggest difference as we continue to age going forward. Here we go. Do you think supplement guidance should come more from doctors, nutritionists, or personal research? So I got a question for you. I know most of you can answer this one real quickly. are you going to get, generally speaking, are you going to get supplement guidance from your doctor? Generally speaking. Now, you may have a good doctor. You may have a doctor that understands that nutrition is the foundation for wellness. But I'm going to suggest that, generally speaking, that's not the case. Now, a nutritionist, everyone should have a nutritionist or someone that really understands how important nutrition is. And I have somebody that I rely on for some information like this. Many of you may know Nicola Burnett, and she really understands how important nutrition is as a basis or a foundation for wellness. But nothing's better, really, than adding some personal research, right? Find out for yourself, know for yourself, because it's going to make a big difference in your ability to actually take advantage of it, to develop habits because you know the value personally. All right, key takeaways on supplements. Food first, supplement second, so that's critical, right? You want to be thinking about the diet. You want to be constantly upgrading the diet. But you need the supplements. Let's not forget that. Kind of looks like this. Personalize is essential. So, you may need more of something and, less of something else. So figuring that out. And when it comes to figuring that out, you may need to go get some testing, right? With a nutritionist, with somebody like Nicola Burnett from Back to Balance, somebody that actually understands the need for, the essential need for nutrients and the ability to measure them, right? And now I've been doing this with Back to Balance for about a year and a half, almost every quarter. And so I know where I'm at. But there's various services popping up all over the place. You'd be surprised that you can get this information from. Science over marketing. There's some great marketing out there, but so much of it is just marketing. And it doesn't have the science. And I'm not saying you need a ton of science, but you should know that when you're taking supplements, that they're actually getting into the body, into the cells, not just into the body. Modern diets often fall short. And we've already talked about that. You can have a really conscious diet and still it's going to fall short if you're not taking some supplements. All right, Healthy Living Series, Part 2, Malnutrition, Aging, and Disease. Next, Part 3, the role of toxification.